Hello and welcome to part 3 of our Google Drive video tutorial series. My name is Alex Carlson. In part 1 of the series in part 1 we covered the introduction and the interface, and in part 2 we got into working with files and folders, the actual nuts and bolts of Drive, kind of got used to actually manipulating and organizing our files. And in part 3 here, we're going to learn about sharing those files and folders, which is a hugely important aspect of Drive for obvious reasons. One of the features that makes Drive such a useful tool is its sharing and collaboration settings. So let's go ahead and get started on sharing files and folders. We're going to start you off with some helpful information that may not be useful on a day-to-day basis, but it's still good to know. Things like file size limits, storage usage, and then we're going to get into the important stuff like sharing a file or folder, um, how sharing works within different folders, and also adding files that have been shared with you to your drive. So right off the bat, it's important to note that each Google file or in a file in Google format like Docs, Slides, or Sheets has a size limitation, as do traditional files. Docs, for instance, being less than 50 megabytes, Slides and Sheets less than 100, and your traditional files like Microsoft Office or images or videos that are not Google format less than 5 terabytes. It's also good to know how Drive allocates its storage quotas. Google formatted files like Docs, Sheets, and Slides won't count towards your storage quota. It's the traditional Microsoft Office PDF, non-Google images, videos, things like that that's going to take up space. And also shared files, like files that you share with others or files that others share with you, will not take up um, space in the person's quota that they've been shared with. So if someone shares a file with you, it's not going to take up your space, only files that you own. So let's go ahead and launch our Drive app, and we'll get into learning how to share files and folders. So we'll start with just sharing a file. For whatever reason, you may want to share a file with someone within your organization or outside of your organization. You may want them to just be able to read and reference the file and the information, or um, edit or correct information in the file, and those are all things that you can do by sharing it with them. You can share a file one of a couple ways. You can right-click the desired file and select the share option from there, or you can just simply left-click once the desired file and click the share icon in the top right, which we will do. This is going to bring up our sharing screen. You may not see this top option of link sharing yet. You may have to click the Get Shareable Link option to turn it on. Once you do that, you'll see the link sharing option. You'll see two options here now, link sharing and people sharing. Link sharing, it generates a link to the document or folder that you're going to be sharing and auto-populates it to your clipboard, from which you can copy it by clicking or selecting copy link. Link sharing allows you, it's especially useful for sharing with people outside of your organization or outside of Google Apps, things like that. Um, uh, After you have generated the link, you will want to set up its access settings, which can be done via the drop-down menu here. My account is part of a domain, SmartHR to be specific, so the default options are going to be sharing within SmartHR. So sharing people within the SmartHR can edit or can comment or can view, and the other option is going to be anyone with the link can edit or can view. Um, More specific options can be found under the More tab here, and that's where you're going to see options like sharing publicly on the web, sharing with anyone who has the link, um, sharing within a domain who has the link, or turning link sharing off, and sharing with specific people, which we will cover. After you've selected your desired option, for instance, we're going to do anyone with the link because we might want to be sharing with someone outside of our organization or someone who does not want to sign into Google Apps in order to edit this document. Um, we're going to then go ahead and set up our access settings. So this is the drop-down menu you use for that, and you can see anyone can edit, can comment, or can view. View being able to see and reference and read, comment being able to do so and comment as well, and then edit, of course, the most common being able to actually change the document. So we'll go ahead and save our settings from there, and our link has been updated, and that is now the link we can use to share to people with those settings. Um, if you want to be more specific with who you share to, or people within your organization, or specific email addresses, you can do so in the people field down here. Google will automatically try and find known contacts to share with. There's my contact name. We'll just use that for now. And again, you can set up the access settings there for those folks. And then send the invite, and an email invite with the link will be sent to the desired people. And again, check out the link below in the video currently to see a beginning to end kind of demonstration of sharing a file with users. We'll go ahead and show you the share, and then also the corresponding appearance of the file in another user's account, things like that. A little more in depth on file sharing. So again, go ahead and click the link below. So let's go ahead and move on to sharing a folder, which is done very similarly to sharing a file. Simply highlight the desired folder. Again, we'll go to our share icon, and in this instance, you'll see that link sharing has not been turned on for me, so I'll go ahead and do that, and you'll see that link sharing is on. And these settings can be manipulated in much the same way that the file settings were. In this instance, can edit means that those with the link are actually able to edit files within the folder as well as add files to the folder. And it's important to remember that when a folder is shared, all the documents within that folder at the time of sharing are going to be shared as well, and documents that are added to that folder in the future will be visible to those that that file or that folder, excuse me, is shared with. So that's link sharing there, and again, you can select some more options, public, specific, with the link, things like that. Can edit, can view. That being that they can view what's in the folder and read it all. Edit being that they can add or change. So, and again, people can be shared with individually down here as well. And options can be sent. Again, check the link below for another in-depth example of how this is done. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on. The last thing we're going to cover here is how to add folders or files that have been shared with you to your drive. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that for our purposes here quickly. And this can be done by going to the Shared with Me tab, and this is where you can see documents and folders that have been shared with you. And they can be added again by right-clicking and selecting, excuse me, this one has been added already, so that's why I'm getting the Move To option. But for instance, if I want to add this folder to my drive, that Move To now is an Add to My Drive or Add to My Drive icon, which we'll go ahead and select. And this brings up a couple options, one to undo the addition, and the other to organize or place the new file where I want it in my drive, a specific folder or the like. And if this weren't already added to my drive, it would be the same process for that as well. So alright, I think that about wraps up basic folder and file sharing. Again, for more in-depth, step-by-step tutorial videos on each of these processes for reference in case you're having trouble, go ahead and click one of the two links below. And thanks for checking out part 3 of the series, and we'll see you back here for part 4, where we cover searching your drive for files and folders. Thank you very much.